Another issue in this city is happening in a neighborhood very close to where me and Lou are. You go from our neighborhood to Broad Channel. We love Marty Feeney and Adrian's, to Howard Beach. I love Joe, Lenny's, love him. I love Benny and Joe at Davino's. Bunch of restaurants there. And it turns out in Howard Beach, Jen DeLandro, best Botox in New York City. Turns out they're stealing statues, religious statues, off the lawns. How is that possible? So we played a cut yesterday from Phyllis Inserillo. She happens to be the chief of staff for our Councilwoman Joann Ariola. Maybe she'll be next. That's the rumor. I don't know. But Phyllis reached out, and she's on right now from Howard Beach, our friend Phyllis. Phyllis, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. Thanks so much for having me.
Nice to have you. We did play your cut yesterday. At first, I thought it was Joann Ariola. Then I realized it was you. But seems like that's a big issue in Howard Beach. People stealing religious statues off the lawns. Have you made any progress in finding these scumbags?
So there is a person of interest for the statues in Howard Beach as well as in our neighboring community of Ozone Park. The police are seeking out this person, so we're hopefully going to have an arrest on that soon. But more importantly, I think, is the fact that people have no problem stealing, Catholic statues and symbols of Christianity. Throughout New York City, we're seeing an uptick in attacks on churches. We just had an attack on a church, a Molotov cocktail bombing on a church in Ozone Park, and then a Jehovah's Witness church in Woodhaven. And we're seeing statues being stolen from churches in Rockaway and now right in front of our own homes. So, we'd like to see a bigger voice coming from the diocese on this. We haven't seen any, show of force within the communities where it's happening from the bishop, and I'm just wondering where he is.
I mean, I guess, and I don't know this, but Cardinal Dolan, he would have been all over this, but the new guy, Ronald Hicks, he's giving you nothing, right? Nothing.
Nothing from the Archdiocese, nothing from the Brooklyn Diocese. And, it's concerning when you have, especially in a community like Howard Beach. I am the Howard Beach Lindenwood Civic President here in Howard Beach. And, we are a large Catholic community here, and we're not seeing anything from our leadership of the church.
Terrible. See, in the good old days, and I know you're going to be uncomfortable with this, but tough. In the good old days, we wouldn't leave it up to the church. There was a guy named Gotti. There's still guys there who live there right now. I know some. That they would do the job we need to be done. I know that we all try to sell the mob doesn't exist anymore. Nonsense, it does. But in the good old days in Howard Beach, this would have been over already, right? The statues would be right back on the lawn, and somebody would be home or dead. That's a fact. You know that, right, Phyllis?
Well, the thing is that we do have great leadership here. Thank God we have Councilmember Ariola. Our civic is very strong in the area. And when you come through Howard Beach, you know that it's a strong patriotic community. We have people like Eddie Earl, who's our neighborhood flagman, hanging hundreds of flags. He's in his 70s, climbing up on a ladder, every spring to make sure the community is full of flags. And our civic does so many events to promote patriotism. We actually have a Columbus Day Festival as well, right by St. Helens Church. We host the local feast here in Howard Beach at St. Helens. So there are people that are pushing back. We have advocates here, and we're going to make sure that we hold them accountable. And we have a great captain at the 106 Precinct, Captain Derris, and our community affairs officers, Detective Jaffe and Officer Carr, who are in constant contact with us about this and making sure that they are going to hold this guy accountable when they find him.
Now, this guy, white guy, black guy, it matters. What does he look like?
So from the images that I saw from cameras, it seems like it's a white guy, but I have no idea of his background or, what he's about. Let
me get into our neighborhoods, because when I was growing up, Bay Ridge, strong Italian, I guess it kind of still is. I don't know. There's a lot of Muslims there, I'm being honest. Bensonhurst, same thing. A lot of Koreans and Asians there now. Ozone Park, Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, and Howard Beach. I mean, you guys, an Italian stronghold. And I've got restaurant owners who say to me, Sid, they're about to build mosques in Howard Beach. I go, come on. I know Ozone Park, but Howard Beach, is there any truth to that?
No, I mean, I know that you and I discussed that yesterday. There's no mosque being built on Cross State Boulevard in Howard Beach. But what I can tell you is that we are still a strong Italian community. We have lots of neighbors from all different facets of life, and we all live together in harmony here. There are no issues throughout our community, and this particular person doesn't even live in Howard Beach that that came to steal the statue.
That's usually the case. Yeah, that's usually the case. So I would imagine you guys, if you're still a very strong Italian community, and I know a lot of Italians that live there, from Jen DeLangio to Charlie Marino to you to Joanne, I would imagine that when this mayor, this repulsive, disgusting, racist mayor, left Little Italy and Arthur Avenue in the Bronx off the immigration enclave map, I would hope at least that Howard Beach was furious.
Everybody here was furious. Everybody was posting online about it. And what we did was we took action right away with the council member's office. And Councilmember Morano, who we love, they are the two chairs of the Italian caucus. They put up a post immediately. We contacted the mayor's office, and immediately he backtracked and said, oh, wait, this is from the prior administration. We're going to put Little Italy back on the map. But more so than that, we are going to be penning a letter to the mayor, adding other communities besides just Little Italy. I understand that there is a large group of Italian immigrants living in Little Italy at the time, but we can't erase the fact that it was a backbone of the city in its time. And now we do have areas where there are large groups of Italians still living together, and we want to make sure that our history is not erased and our culture is not erased. And with the Italian caucus, we're doing a lot of different events and different things that you'll see that you haven't seen before with this caucus. We've included all of the Italian organizations throughout New York City to be included so that we are one strong voice together working towards the same goals. Somebody put on Twitter yesterday, they said, you know how we love you, Sid? No one's ever going to argue your love for Israel and the Jewish people. Can't argue that. I'm going back to Israel again in October. It'll be the 6th time since the war. They said, but, man, you show such respect to Christ, to Christians, and I do. I put on Twitter yesterday, I said, listen, I'm a proud Jew. That's never going to change. But I have a healthy love and respect for Christ and my brothers and sisters in the Christian community, because I realize that if we're going to get rid of hate, anti-Semitism, but hate in this world, it can only happen if Christians and Jews come together. That's why I'm always so disappointed when Christians turn out to be anti-Semitic. It really bothers me, because the truth is this country was built on Judeo-Christian values. We should be brothers and sisters in this fight against hate. So I'm glad you brought up the church fire bombings, what's going on in Howard Beach, because I'm not just about the Jews. I'm not just about Israel. I know what's going on with Christians in this country. I know Christians are being murdered by Muslims in Africa and all over the world. So it's time for people to pay attention to all the atrocities going on with Christians. Absolutely. And thank you for that. And I know you are supportive of the Catholic faith and the Christian faith. And we want to see more of that, right? I want to see the leaders, the rabbis coming out and talking out against this. I want to see the imams coming out and talking out against this, because Catholics are very bad at advocating for themselves, but they're the first ones out there to say when something anti-Semitic or something that's, considered anti-Muslim happens. They're the first ones out there to say something, and then something happens to us. And we do not see any of our leadership of the church. It really is sad. Anything else that we should know about with this story? Or because you are terrific, by the way, fellas. Anything else with that community in Howard Beach we should know about? Well, just know that we're here. We're a great community. We have great restaurants. You mentioned Joe. I'm very close with Joe and Doreen DeCandia from Lenny's Clam Bar. They're dear friends of mine. They are very giving towards the community. We did a street renaming for Lenny's 2 years ago for their 50th anniversary. But come to Howard Beach. You'll see a strong Italian community with lots of faith here, and we're happy to have you. And Sid, definitely, I'll meet you with Lenny's for a drink one day. No, I love Joe. He's great. In fact, one day I was at Lenny's, one night I should say, and he wasn't there, Joe. And I finished dinner with Danielle and Gabe, my family, and we walked out, and I got a text from Joe, and I said, how do you know I just left? He has cameras inside the place, and he wanted to make sure they took care of me. And the other guy, Benny and Joe down when you first get into Howard Beach, right there by Frankie Russo. I love Frankie Russo, too. Vetros and Russo's on the bay. They own Davino's, and on the walls in Davino's, you know this, Phyllis, they have all these pictures of very famous people. And you're there. Yes, I'm right next to wall. Yes, right next to President Trump. You made it here in Howard Beach. I know. I'm right next to President Trump and Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe. Actually, President Trump is in a picture with Sarah Palin, but there I am on the wall. That's a big deal, right? Absolutely. And listen, the next time you speak to President Trump, please do me a favor and let him know. I need him to fulfill the campaign promise of bringing all of our city workers back to work, because I don't know if you know this, but we still have firefighters, police officers, teachers, out of work because of a vaccine mandate from 5 years ago.
Son of a bitch, Adams, I
So
know.
let him know that for me.
I will. I'm going to see him Saturday at Bedminster. I will let him know that. Phyllis, you're terrific. I actually hope you replace Joann. Excellent job here this morning, and keep up the fight. I love all of you people in Howard Beach. You're great Americans. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Sid. Take care.
God bless you. Phyllis Inserillo right there, and she's great.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?